we're gonna make the Ram matchup chart first, okay? I'll do my best to explain why. But for the most part, this is gonna be my reasoning. Okay, let me show you guys. Okay? Just to, you know, so you understand where my opinions come from. Okay? So, this is the Ram matchup chart. So, let's get the controversial ones out of the way. Ram Nago. Need I say more? Does it go much further than that? Honestly. Ram Nago, it's not that deep. I really can't. So the thing is, even I lose neutral even when this character has two bars of blood. This character doesn't lose to anybody in the game. I don't care. He doesn't. I just get out risk rewarded. I can't kill him fast enough, even though I do 1 billion damage as Ram. You can't like whiff punish him meaningfully. The risk reward is so in his favor because his backdash is good. He has mad health. If he counter hits you, if you're trying to do something, you die. This is so trash. Soul. I think Soul Ram is even. That's a debatable one by some people that think Soul is horrible, but he's not. The character is not that bad. It's pretty good. But I think Soul Ram pretty even. The risk reward is like he can die really fast, but he has really good defense against Ram because he has like the 3-frame 5k, his DP, which is super good. His neutral is super solid, like 2S puts in a lot of work in that matchup. His 2K is really good. Var Slash does really well in an area where I can't hit like any button to try and challenge besides like 2K. His 6P is also really good in that matchup. Ram beats Kai. I feel like it's a pretty simple one. They both pretty much do the same thing, but he gets very low reward off of his whiff punishes, and he doesn't really deal that much damage outside of like very specific hits. And he needs to spend a lot of meter for conversions and stuff like that, so it's not that bad. And my whiff punishes on him lead into like a lot. So, all right, Mei Ram. Admittedly, this is a matchup I don't know a lot about, but we're gonna put it at even because even Ram can't anti-air this character. I might be trolling. Hold on, let me think about it. Yeah, I'll leave it even. I think it's pretty even. Because Mei's jab, the thing people don't talk about is Mei's jab is so good because it's so bugged. And like, it's such a good tool in neutral against Ram. It's so weird to say that, like the character's jab is good in neutral, but it's so good. It's actually mad good. It is hella good. But yeah, I think Mei is super good. The risk reward, pretty good for her. I would say like Dolphin being negative on hit is like not too good, but also you have her 6P and jab that make the RPS mad funny. Axel, this dude, so like the way the Axel matchup goes is Ram. It's like this dude's just swinging at you the whole match, and then you hit him once and he can't do anything the whole time. That's pretty much what the matchup boils down to. And he dies really, really fast. And Axel players are masters, so they die even faster. It's pretty simple. You know, basically, the thing is, Ram, her dash is so fast that like her dash is so fast and it shrinks her hurt box so much you can dash under a lot of his standing normals. So it's just like chill. Even the jumping normals you can dash under most of the time too. And you can like reaction 6P or 5P them if you're close enough as well. All right, here's a controversial one. One that's it's a little hard. But I think Chip slightly beats Ram. Slightly, it's very small. I think it is very hard for Ram to deal with Chip's offense. He's like, the thing is, in the mid-range, they basically play the same, kind of neutral, right? Around like their far slash and stuff like that. And like running in with like K buttons, stuff like that. But Chip's speed, like, I think it overwhelms her pretty hard. But at the same time, the risk reward is just so like, it's so good for Ram. But I think in neutral and like pressure I think he's a bit better because her defense against Chip is literally just FDing him out and then like trying to do something. But like his buttons are really, he's really good about like when he's FD'd out, he can just like wait and like whiff punish you really hard or like take a chance and press a button and then like catch you for overextending. All right, Pot. So I think Pot, this matchup is trash for him. I literally just jump and hit slash, and it's so bad for him. Like, you just jump at Pot, or you jump away from Pot and hit like S buttons and move around. He can't really do anything. And then if he ever tries to do the move where he, or what's the move where he slams his head in the ground, the slight head? If he tries to do that move, you can just 214K over it. It's like, this matchup's so trash, and you do mad damage to him. And like, even if he tries to like back Mega Fist in the corner and stuff like that, you can just counter hit him with Rekka, like super easy. So it's not that bad, or it's not that good for Pot. Another one, Faust. I think Ram. So there's been some developments in the matchup. All right, Apology Man, he's been making a lot of developments in the matchup, right? The Lonely Faust. But I think that Ram still cooks this character pretty bad. But Faust, he can fight back, but the risk reward is just so bad. Like, when he's defending against Ram, he risks like 60% of his health bar pressing jab at like any point or whatever, and then he gets like 20%, right? Like, this is just not worth it all the time. But the problem is he has to do it, and his neutral is so like, the whole point of Faust is he's supposed to keep you out, and you're not supposed to get in. He throws items, he keeps normals there, the items cover him sometimes, right? Against Ram, that doesn't really happen because she has really long normals and she has good special moves to confirm off those normals. So Faust doesn't really ever get to play too much. The Ram has to mess up pretty bad for Faust to be able to like get his game plan started pretty hard. Millia, I think Ram just beats Millia. Like, it's not like a hard win, but you just win that matchup, I think. Because at the same time, she dies in like 2 hits, right? And Ram can anti-air and air-to-air Millia pretty well. But at the same time, Millia has options to like beat things Ram can do. Like, her K buttons are really good in that matchup. Her JS is really good. But at the same time, Ram can just keep out Millia pretty well and not let her play, and also just anti-air her the whole time. And it's not too deep of a matchup. You kind of just play neutral and don't overcommit, and Millia will just die. But at the same time, if Millia hits you, her set play is pretty good, so, you know, a mix-up is a mix-up, right? The Zato, same thing, basically the same thing. It's like, you win, but you can also lose as easy it's easy to win, but also really easy to lose. So, like, Zato dies in like 2 hits, right? But at the same time, like, Zato, his risk reward is like, on defense, he can like hit a button and it'll get a knockdown, but the knockdown is into summon and it just keeps looping. But if you block it, he can't really do anything and has to risk overextending or going back to neutral, right? So he has to hit you like 4 times, 3 times, but they're all 50-50s. But Ram has to hit you 1, 2 times maybe, and then you just die, so. And the neutral is like very clearly in Ram's favor. Like, the Zato has to overextend and take a lot of risks. Leo, I feel like, because I want to say it's even, but this character is some bullshit. See, I can't tell if it's me gapping or if it's my character, but like when I play against Leos, it's so close. Every time it's so close. So I'm just gonna put even, because Leo players swear Ram beats Leo. They swear Ram beats Leo, but I don't see it. So like, the thing about Leo is like, his risk reward super good. He's a heavy, scrubbiest class of character in the game, right? But he has so much health, he does mad damage on conditional hits, and he has looping set play on Ram because she's a light character, right? So like, 2D is mad good, you can't whiff punish him because if he whiffs, he can just do guard point and then whiff punish you, or punish you for your button, right? His 2D puts in mad work too in this matchup as well. But I think Leo is like super good into Ram. I think it's, I want to say it's small lose, but I'll put it even for the culture. Geo, I think Ram beats Geo because a lot of this matchup is them just running at you, and your K buttons stop it pretty well from just running at you. So like, a lot of times you can like run into them, or they'll run into your K button, or like your K button will whiff, and then you can like wait and see if you should hit another one, or jump, or dash away, or dash in, right? So you have a lot of buffer time in this matchup, even though it's a pretty fast one. It could be just as slow as it is fast. But Geo, she dies pretty fast. Her defense is like okay-ish against Ram. I don't really think it's anything crazy because her risk reward is not that good. Like, she doesn't get big payout for like mashing against Ram, so nothing crazy. And then, this is the one the streets don't know about. Streets don't know about this matchup. Anji. Anji versus Ram, even. It's an even matchup. Why? Because here's the reason. So Anji's guts pretty good, right? His risk reward, he doesn't get anything crazy. Like he has like if he mashes 2p, right? Like he gets very small where like 2p 6h whatever, right? It's not the end of the world. He gets a little solid knockdown, nothing happens, nothing crazy, right? But his guts is high, so he can afford to do that a lot, even though Ram does a lot of damage. And his neutral primarily is doing a lot of spin in the mid range, right? Or spin to get into the mid range. And what does Ram like to hit when you're at that like mid range? She likes to hit far slash, 5h. Those buttons, if he spins them, he gets a far slash punished, 2h punished, whatever. Like he can do hella damage to you. The other thing too is that when he's in like the up close range, his far slash is actually really, really good counter poke and really good whiff punish tool on like K buttons and stuff like that. And his 2K is really good into Ram as well, and 2D. He has a lot of matchup options, or a lot of options in this matchup, I think. He's super good. He's very good at avoiding Ram's anti-airs too, which is like really random, but Anji's really good at doing that. Like I played Jiro a lot, and some other Anji players too, and I think this matchup's like super even. Ino, dude, okay, so I was talking to Daru, and Daru thinks Ino like destroys Ram. He thinks this shit is like, it's easy. Pre-patch? Nah, he says it now. He's like, nah, Ino bodies Ram. And then Daru fucking farms me, so I can't even say anything. I think it might be even though. I feel like it's even, because it feels like one of those matchups that's just so like, it's so snowbally that like whoever gets the first touch and like gets neutral and wins round, it's a round start matchup. Like if you can win round start, then it's pretty good. So like I feel like Ino Ram is one of those matchups where it's really decided at round start, and then if someone makes a good defensive read, like a good mash or a good backdash, something like that, then they can like turn the tide of the whole game pretty well. Ram Gold Lewis. I think Ram wins. That is just my opinion though. I think so, even though he's heavy and he has a lot of health, his movement is really bad, but his normals are really good. He's really good at jumping against Ram and stuff like that. But the thing is, as Ram, you can play at a distance and like negate a lot of like the stuff in neutral Gold Lewis is doing. So it's a lot of like keeping him at like the tip of like far slash and 5h. And if he's ever close to you, hit 5k a lot to preemptively stuff his jump and his like if he does a behemoth or if he does far slash, 5k will beat all those options just like automatically. So I think doing that is pretty good in this matchup. But mostly you want to play at like the tip of like JS and like far slash. So I think having those options against him pretty good. But also, because Ram is a lightweight and she has lower health as well, he gets like pretty good combos and kills her in like 1 hit or 2 hits. So it's pretty hard. But at the same time, as much as Ram sucks at dealing with Gold Lewis pressure, Gold Lewis sucks at dealing with Ram pressure because he can't jump out. And his 6p is really bad. So you can't even like 6p the sword toss at like almost a lot of ranges. Like you have to be inside of him for him to hit you with the 6p. And then like, yeah, like him jumping out, he gets hit by the explosion. It's like super free. Jacko Ram. I think Ram just beats Jacko. But this is another round start matchup, I think. I feel like this is another round start matchup. I feel like it's another round start matchup where it's like super determined at the beginning of the match. But Ram has pretty solid round start options against her. But they're so momentum heavy. But I think Ram mostly wins the neutral. We hate Nintendo until a new Mario Kart comes out. I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. I just don't like Nintendo. And their games suck. So anyway. Yeah, Jacko. And like Jacko's whole thing is like throwing out the minions and like running around and like kind of ping-ponging them around. But like Ram's normals are really good at dealing with it. So I think it's just super momentum-based matchup, but Ram mostly wins until she makes a mistake, and then Jacko can just use the momentum to her favor. Okay, another one. Happy Chaos. Happy Chaos. This character is some bullshit. Okay, but again, it feels like another matchup. It's another matchup where it's like it's so round start based, and like depending on the defense, because it's like if he gets one good backdash, one good back throw, or one good like button, he basically wins the whole round off of like the next sequence, right? But Ram, the thing is, she kills him really fast and she can check him in the neutral really hard. So the Happy Chaos player has to be like pretty careful or make a lot of bets on like what they're going to do, in neutral, right? Because it's like Ram can punish them for throwing curse. She can dash under it and Daro it and like get a combo and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of like nuance and small things in the matchup at like the highest level. So I think it's pretty even. Baiken. I think Ram beats Baiken, but I've heard other Ram players not say that. But I think Ram beats Baiken, in my opinion. I don't really struggle too much. Like I feel like Ram, I almost want to put it in hard win, because I feel like Ram just bodies her in neutral, and Baiken's so bad at anti-airing the JS and like other jumping buttons. But Baiken's damage output, she can like turn it around, and her offense is like super good too. So I'll just put it in win. But yeah, in neutral, it's a lot of jumping against Baiken, and you can like just reactively choose options to zone her and keep her out. It's kind of like one of those matchups. It's one of those matchups where you just zone them out and you just play at a distance, and you just try to not let her in. And then even when she's in, you still have a good 5p, and like 5k is really good in like the mid range. So, or not mid range, but when she's like up close in like far slash range, you can hit 5k and stuff like that. So you have really good bets against her when she's up close. So I think it's pretty good. But on her side, she can kill Ram really fast, and she gets good combos because Ram's light. Testament. I think Ram kind of bodies Testament. I'm not gonna lie. I'll put it in win. I don't put it in hard win because these matchups are like free. This matchup I think is like not free, but it's also not hard. It's just a solid winning matchup. This matchup, they're basically doing the same thing. They're hitting far slash, trying to like establish something in the mid range. But the thing is, Testament has a two-step game plan. They have to get the fairies out or whatever. They have to get the succubus out, and then they have to get the crow out, and crow has to hit. So it's 2 steps, right? So they have to do that. But in doing that, they risk a lot because Ram can jump over Fireball, can interrupt the gap in between Fireball, can just move. So like the game plan's not guaranteed. The thing about Ram is she hits the button, and it either hits or it blocks. They hit confirm or they don't, right? Or they do block string, or they go into Rekka pressure, stuff like that, right? Testament, it's like their defense against Ram is just so trash because their guts is a bit lower, and the reward off of like hitting like 2p 6h, right? You get them off you, they fly away. So then you get to set up a fairy, but then the crow is not guaranteed because you can jump out of that crow because it's not meaty. So it's a lot of like inconsistencies in like the game plan that make that matchup like super annoying. And Ram is just like, I just need to hit you once, and then like that's it. My game plan has already begun, right? Or I made you block the normal, I made you block the sword in the corner. And Testament, the other thing too is Ram's dash speed is insane. Like she can just fly across the screen and be in your face instantly, right? Testament's dash speed is like really slow. So they're not going to be able to like close the gap as fast as Ram, but they still have really good normals and stuff like that. So it's a pretty interesting matchup, but I think Ram does win. Bridget, I think this matchup's really easy as Ram. I've played against really good Bridget players, and I literally just sat there and mashed 5H the whole time and jumped away because Bridget's anti-air is not strong, and Bridget's jump-in is not strong. So I can literally whiff a button because their jump-ins are so slow, recover a low profile or block or 6p their jump-in after I've whiffed like a whole H button. And then in neutral, I'm just mashing 5H the whole time. So you're basically just playing as a wall, and you're just hitting 5H, 5k, sitting there, nothing happens, and then they risk their whole health bar trying to get a 2k2d knockdown or something like that, right? Or like a 5H whiff punish, or 5HH whiff punish. It's really not that bad. And as the Ram player, it feels really brain dead. Like you're just sitting there mashing 5H the whole time, nothing happens, there's not really a lot of interaction. It's like it's really easy matchup, in my opinion. Sin. Admittedly, I haven't played this matchup much, but from the bit I've played, I think Ram beats Sin. I think he has a solid neutral game against her. Like 2S is pretty good. Far slash can be good if he's able to get it out. His 6p is really good at counter poking Ram's like mid neutral. Like she's hitting like far slash 5k 5h. She's really good at dealing with that. But, oh, his 2K is also really good, and his dash speed is really good as well. Elka is also pretty good in this matchup. But the thing is, Ram just out risk rewards him pretty hard until he gets meter. When he gets meter, it like leads into like a counter hit into like Kara super confirm, and then I lose like 70%, or just like button confirm 70%, right? Like he can cash out really hard, but that's two-step game plan, right? That's two-step game plan. Whereas like Ram, it's just I hit you and you die, right? So, but I do think he can hold his own in the neutral against Ram. But yeah, that's mostly it. So that's gonna wrap up the Ram matchup chart portion of this content. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of this. I mean, this is like, I think this is mostly accurate. Like, this isn't even me trolling. This is just like for real my opinion on like how this character does in this version. So yeah, and if anyone has questions, they can ask, and I'll like try to explain it. But this is just my opinion. So the final Guilty Gear Strive tier list for this version. I have to think really hard about this. Let me think really hard about this. I think I've done it. I think I've made my perfect tier list. This isn't even me trolling. So let me explain. No separation for top 4? Nah, I don't really care to. I guess I could, huh? And then we could just put everyone else here. Giving you a platform was a mistake. What do you mean? You know what? There we go. There we go. No, I think now it's good. I think now it's good. Okay, so let me explain for the video. Let me explain for the video. So basically, these characters in the God tier, they're just like unfuckwithable. Okay, outside of like a couple matchups, they have their like kind of cringe. They go even or beat the majority of the cast. Okay, and the thing is similar to S tier, where these characters kind of do the same thing, but it's way easier to win with these characters, and it's a lot more effective in a bracket. So that's how I'm looking at it, right? I'm only looking at it through the lens of like tournament play. So the thing is, in a bracket, it's so easy to win three games with any 5 of these characters. Comparatively, with these characters, it's easy to win as well, but it's also just as easy to lose and make a mistake. So, like, let's go through it. Like, so like Nago, right? Not much needs to be said. You know, has a lot of health, his risk reward's crazy, does mad damage, his neutral's good, and even in the supposed losing matchups that supposedly exist, he still hits them once and loses, or wins instantly. So I'm not quite sure what the Nago mains mean. You know, is the bad matchup in the room with us? I'm not sure. Happy Chaos mostly beats everyone in the game. Has like a couple even matchups, I think. But overall, I mean, like, super strong character. Like, their risk reward and just the way they play neutral in general, it's like, it's a bit nuanced, but once they get their game plan started, everyone's the same, right? Like, they get the curse on you, they get the reticle, you get shot into guard break. If you get hit, it leads to like crazy meter build. They break wall, positive bonus, and then you die, right? Bit of a 2-step game plan, but really, really good 2-step game plan. Leo, really good neutral. You can't whiff punish this character for the most part because of 5H hold into guard point. He can just punish you. He does pretty high damage, like conditionally, in front turn. Back turn doesn't get access to a lot of high damage unless it's just like counter hitting you or you have risk, or unless he has meter, depending on your guts too. But super solid character, really good neutral, god tier anti-air, just super good everything. IMO. Ram, I think Ram is also really, really good, but their biggest weakness is that they're not a heavy. The only 2 characters in top 5, my top 5, that aren't a heavy, Happy Chaos, Ram, and the thing they share in common is that they die really fast. But the thing with Ram, she dishes out a lot of damage. She has really fast normals that go like past mid-range, and even close range, her like reward on like cashing out is huge. Like her hit confirm into anything is like huge and leads into so much, right? Overall. But like I said, her weakness, her defense is not the best. So like you have to be really good at using system mechanics to play as Ram. Like, cause you're gonna bet like 5p or something, and against any of these characters, like betting a 5p, getting counter hit, you're just gonna die, right? And then like you have to leverage FD, so you have to be really good at managing meter and stuff like that. So, but she is strong. She is strong. I'm not like downplaying anything, but it's just like in reality, like what it is. Gold Lewis, I don't. So the thing is, I don't understand what's wrong with people just admitting that their character is good. So he's a heavy, so he's automatically scrubby, right? The thing is, like, Gold Lewis offense, it doesn't matter what you are. It doesn't matter what you are. This dude will just do Behemoth and level 3 drone and hit jump D, and you can't do anything about it. So like you have to be really good at controlling him in neutral. But the thing is, he can afford to take those risks because of how much health he has, and like the payout on like comboing him isn't that huge because he's a heavy too. So he's just gonna like he can just like risk reward his way through neutral and just like brute force his way in. And eventually when he gets that hit, it doesn't even matter. He doesn't even have to hit you. If he hits you, you're dead, right? But if he doesn't hit you, he just slowly chips away your health with the behemoths and stuff like that. So it's pretty interesting. Anyways, Baiken, I think she has really good neutral into like most of the cast. I think some characters give her a bit of trouble in neutral and like on defense against her. But her offense, when she has meter and like just in general, like she's really good at spacing herself out to do like H Kabari, and then like if someone's really good at block or really committed to blocking and not like fuzzying or jumping, stuff like that, then you get like Escabari shenanigans and stuff like that. Her strike though is really good, and the payoff off the throw is like really unique in that she gets like a 50-50 like setup off of it, and her mix-ups are really strong. So I think she's really good, and she does a lot of damage, and a lot of people are starting to get really good with Baiken. There are a lot of good Baiken mains out there, and yeah, nothing crazy. Zato players, the smartest humans on Earth, some would say. Some would say in the known galaxy, the universe, all of existence, the most intelligent beings known ever. Some would say. Zato, I think Zato, he's really good. Apparently he loses every matchup in the game, according to Zato mains. This is their opinion. But the Zato players are so good at doing 50-50s off of 2K2D and looping it until you die, and them doing an infinite block string on you, that I think he is one of the best characters in the game. He is very hard to play, IMO. Very hard to play, very hard to make decisions with. Execution-wise, I think he's a bit harder than most of the cast. Like, I don't think a lot of characters in this game are very hard, but I think Zato is one of the harder ones execution-wise. Because you have to like manage Eddie and like move him around and stuff like that, especially in neutral, if you use him in neutral. So I think he's a bit harder. But the reward for learning how to do all that kind of stuff is very high, because you know you get access to a lot of like very strong setups, high damaging combos conditionally, and he's really good at like fighting the game's mechanics like YRC and like bursts and stuff like that, because there's a lot of burst safe routes, a lot of YRC safe mix-up, and yeah, I think the character's super strong. Chip, I think, is one of those characters that people write off super hard. Even though there are plenty of good chip players out there, you have like TY, Kazunoko, Bean, SSF, right? Like you have all these people that are like super good, and there's just I think there's a lot of room for Chip to get better, and he does have a lot of like problem matchups and like characters that give him trouble. But I think like his neutral is so good, and like there are chances to apply a lot of things in those matchups, because I've been playing a lot of Chip myself recently. And like you can, I can like see where I'm wrong, or like what could have done better. And this character has a lot of room to grow, I think, still. But at the same time, it's very easy to make a mistake with Chip. That's the thing that like separates this tier of character compared to this one, because these are all really good, but these are even better, because even when it's really hard to make a mistake as these characters. As these characters, you can make a mistake and lose, but you can also just win at the same time if you just don't, right? You don't mess up. And like Chip's risk reward, he has like one of the lower healths in the game, has a DP, so you can like bet a DP, and if it gets blocked, you're gonna die for sure, right? Depending on what you're fighting. So, but at the same time, pretty overwhelming offense, really solid neutral, and there's like this weird like notion that you have to play Chip like a crackhead, but you don't. Like Chip's neutral, when you play like for example like Bean, right? Bean has this style of like just waiting and not rushing. But he's really good at choosing like his time to like go in or like choose options and stuff like that in the neutral. I just think this character has a lot of like room for development, and it's just gonna keep getting better. And we'll never know, maybe in the next patch they might buff him or like nerf his worst matchups, and he might get even better. Jacko, I think Jacko is so good. I thought she's mad good for a long time. like what's opened my eyes super hard was I was watching Kazunoko play Jacko, and the way he plays is just so straight to the point. Like he just like gets the knock, he plays to get the knockdown, runs away, gets the knockdown, and then he just runs block string into a mix-up, and that's it. Whereas like other Jackos, they try and crank your wrist and try to do this like 5D into like strike throw like game. But I think Jacko is just meant to do like, you know, knockdown, safe jump, mix up, loop it, and that's it, right? And then like another thing like other people are abusing a lot are like button, like 5H, like for example, like 5H into or like minion recall is like -2. So it's super good. And then just like button into recall, button into summon, like having that kind of like RPS is like super strong. As her too. And conditionally she gets pretty high damage as well. So yeah. But I will say like her neutral is a little bit lacking. But she makes up for that with her good set play. Okay, Sin. Pretty newer character to the game, but after playing him a lot, I think that Sin is very strong. I think that Sin, like his neutral, a lot of people had this knee-jerk reaction, like he's trash, his frame rate is bad, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. But I think he's really good. I think this character is super strong, and he's gonna develop and get even better. Because it's like Elk Hunt into the follow-up is super good. Like it's guard break into dash up +7, right? His calories auto gain, so you don't even have, or his yeah, like his like stamina gauge like auto gain, so you don't even have to manage it. And it's like he's super fun to play as well, and he leads into high damage like of almost every hit. Like very heavy hit confirm character and like hard mid-range character, but when he's in your face, his strike though is really strong as well. You know, his close slash is super good, his 2K is like one of the best in the game, IMO. And his frame trap game is like really strong as well. So I just think with time, he's gonna get better than even where I think he is. And then these characters, it's pretty easy to explain, I think. I think Mei, she's really good, but she has some problem matchups, and although she has like really high guts, compared to other characters that are like lighter, she just like spews out damage, like off of almost every hit. But her neutral, it's really hard for her to whiff punish some characters and get like meaningful whiff punishes. And to get something off that. But with meter, she becomes a demon, right? Because like button and dolphin does like 60%, and then now you're in the corner, and then you know everything's going wrong at that point. So she has solid neutral, but she needs she's very like conditionally good, I think. She's very good at jumping, which is a very good trait to have in this game. But like I said, it's like a two-step game plan. They have to hit you, but then also get the meter and do stuff off of it. But so like late game Mei is like really good, but her early game and like the rounds are not too strong. Her round start is also kind of okay too. Soul I think is actually really good, but he has a lot of cringe matchups I think where he just kind of like loses neutral and he has to bet a lot. But his risk reward in like betting against certain characters is like huge because he gets like massive damage, right? It's pretty interesting to see how like Soul plays. But I think overall he's like pretty strong. He's pretty strong, and his neutral in those matchups isn't very good, but like I said, it's like that payout where it's like he eventually gets in and he can like cash out and do a lot of damage, right? But then he has to go back to neutral if he doesn't break the wall. It's super. Kai, I think Kai, very similar case of like, he plays very similarly to like Ram in a way. Same archetype where it's like they play mid-range, get knocked down, and then do stuff, right? But like Kai's payout for like whiff punishes, the payout for Kai's whip punishes are not as strong as like let's say a character like Ram or any other like top tier, because it just leads into like a knockdown, like doesn't even lead into like a setup, right? All the time, right? Think like Stun Dipper and other things like that. He barely gets immunity if he does. So like he's not the strongest character, but his pressure is pretty good with like meaty 5K and other things like that. And like Charged Sun Edge, he gets like electricity on you. So he's a pretty interesting character, but I think that he's just very good at playing neutral, but his reward for playing the neutral isn't too strong right now. So it's kind of how I look at Kai. And he also has a lot of like weird problem matchups. Ino I think is probably like one of the scrubbiest characters in the game, and I think she's also the easiest character to win with in the game. So why? Because she's so strong at round start, she can gamble her way in. This character is perma just rolling the dice on options. Like you can roll like 6P against characters that like to use mids. Your 2S is really good at mid-range. 2H is disjointed normal, that's like super active so they can run into it and die. you know, you can bank a dive and get in, and like you just start mixing them up and doing a lot of pressure. She's very fast paced and like very momentum based, but at the same time she dies as fast as she can win, right? So, and similarly, I think Giovanna is really good at playing neutral at like a mid range and like getting in and doing stuff, but also I think she struggles a bit at getting like kept out. But generally, her payout is like pretty high because she cranks risk pretty fast, and her like dash is very unique in that she can like cut it short, and it's a step dash, right? So she can block in the middle of it. So I think she's really strong at doing that and like getting in and like dash 5k. Her anti-air game is actually really strong with 63S, which is like the up kick DP. So I think overall she's really strong, but she does struggle in certain matchups. Bridger, I think, is one of those characters that's like very slept on. Her reward is really low on like when she hits you like 2k 2d into like yo-yo setup, but the thing is like the reward is like very consistent, and there are like ways to set up like a higher reward things, but it's also they lead into some risk, right? And it's a lot of like conditioning on her side with like if she cancels into like the roll, right? She can like stop it early to not get 6p and avoid getting anti-aired, and then there's things that she can do to like whiff punish people or like keep them out. Like her backdash is very strong too as well. Her mix-up game is pretty strong, but I would say like a lot of the people's biggest complaint was that she does no damage, but there are certain routes that lead into like really high damage, I think, for a character of like that's supposed to have lower damage. I think her positive bonus loop is like super strong. I think with time they'll get better, and the thing is like they also just lose some matchups like horribly, like Ram, Nago. I think like Gold Lewis, Leo is like not good for them. Like it's like the best characters in the game, but also like super common. Like Chip beats her, so it's a lot of annoying things for this character. But I think with time they'll get better, and we'll see. You know, if they get buffed or if the bad matchups get nerfed. So we'll see. Testament's one of those characters I had a lot of hopium for. I thought this character was gonna be really juiced, especially after they like tuned them up a little bit. But even with some of the quality of life changes they gave them, they're still not as good as the better characters in the game. Like their game plan is really snowbally, and it's very two-step, right? Because you have to get the crow out, and you have to get the fairy out, and then you have to get the crow to get to the fairy, and it all has to hit, right? Or at least the crow does. It has to make contact. So, and even then, like Stain is like good, but like more than half your game is played in Stain, and you get high reward off of Stain and stuff like that, and you have to like crank wrists to get really high damage. But they're like confirmability, I think, is a big thing that's like lacking. Like you can't really confirm that well off of counter hits. Whereas like if I get a counter hit far slash, right, or a counter hit 2H, if they don't have Stain or I don't have a fairy out, a succubus, I can't counter hit confirm very well because I can't teleport to the opponent to get like a good confirm on the counter hit 2H, and they don't have Stain, so I don't get like a confirm off of their off of the button like hitting them. So it's just like button into like arbiter at most, right? Where like characters get like counter hit, far slash into like 40% into a setup, whereas like I get a knockdown and they fly away and I don't get anything guaranteed, right? So like it's a very clear like power level like difference, and they have a lot less guaranteed like offense off of certain hits compared to a lot of the other characters on this list. So I think they're pretty strong, and they probably could get stronger, and they have a lot of bad matchups. That's the other thing too. So I think they could get stronger. Hopefully with the new patch. This is one of the characters I want to play. So I hope that they get buffed insanely hard, and I get to play Testament in tournament finally. But we'll see. We shall see. So next is Faust. I think Faust is a lot better than people give him credit for, but he has a lot of bad matchups. They can just lose really hard, and I think it's really hard for Faust to win even like his solid matchups. Like this character's pretty hard to win with, but that's where the items come in. The items like make those matchups like pretty easy to win or pretty hard to win depending on what you get. Like if you just get meteors and hammer and mini Faust, like your matchups become so good because it doesn't matter what they do. They can't play neutral, right? And they have to play around you, but your damage is so low most of the time unless you land like anti-air 5k or like a 2H counter hit or like a coast slash, right? And like Faust strike throw is like, it's decent. It's not like horrible, but it's not good. It's just okay. So yeah, I think Faust is just aight. Anji. Anji, he randomly has really good matchups into like a lot of these like top tier characters, but at the same time, against other characters in the cast, he does like even or like loses to you. But he's just kind of like another risk reward character where like you bet like a running into them and like tossing a normal, or like running and spinning at them and like playing that kind of RPS and seeing what happens and stuff like that, right? So, you know, this is another character I think that is really good and underrated, but I think they can get even stronger depending on how the tier list shakes up next version, right? So we'll see. Milia. Oh, also, not to mention, Anji does a lot of damage as well. Milia, bro, this character, I never had a really high opinion of her because I always thought she was really easy to fight, and that was like my RAM POV of like the game. I always thought she was really easy to fight and really easy to anti-air. And then I feel like as other characters developed, she just got worse. Like, I feel like she was really good in the beginning and just got worse over time. Like, melee player, they have to work so hard. And they have to work so hard to get in. And it's just like very cringe for them, I feel like. But despite that, I feel like when they do get in, the reward is big because it's like a really ambiguous mix-up to like deal with as a defender. And yeah, but the problem is she has very low damage. Like her high damage is like so conditional, and it's like so matchup dependent. And the way she's like forced to play neutral is like super hard in the air and like running at you, when a lot of characters don't need to interact with her and they can just easily anti-air her or run under her or run away, right? And they don't really need to approach. So we'll see. We'll see how they buff Milia, or like how they nerf other characters to make her stronger. We'll see what they do. Axel. So like, I thought this character was like decent for a while, but my opinion of him just kind of keeps like dropping. I don't think he's like, I think he's good. I think like Axel can like win an event or like do really well in events and stuff like that. But like his bad matchups are just so consistent that like being right in those matchups kind of requires the opponent to like mess up a lot, like make mistakes, and you capitalizing on those mistakes, which is like inherently not good. Because like if you play good, you should win, but you can play good with Axel and still lose, you know? So it's just like, it's really weird. He's a really weird character because his risk reward isn't good. Like he'll bet like 2k2d just to survive, and that's like a 10% combo. You know, 2k2d, 2h, and the Ren Sand's like what, 10-15%, right? And then like nothing really happens. The person can just dash block at you, and then they're in your face, and you have to do it again, right? But you risk like 60% against like better characters in the game and just die. So I don't know. We'll see. But honestly, I'm cool with Axel sucking and not being good because zoning like this is cringe. So he can stay bad. I'm a big fan of him being bad. Pot. I know there's a lot of Potemkin fans out there. Unfortunately, I think he's the worst character in the game. I think he just struggles against like most of the cast. I don't know. I think Pot beats a Nago, and I think that's about it. I think that's the only character he beats pretty well. And yeah, that's it. Besides that, he just loses and can't do shit. Oh, and Anji can, yeah, I could see that, Anji doing bad. But yeah, Pot, he just struggles. Like his risk reward, he can grab you twice and like kill you, like most characters, and he can hit you, and he has like Garuda and stuff like that. But it's his neutral and like getting in, it's so hard. Like he has to make a crazy like read, or like sacrifice so much health to get in. But when he does, his reward is like really high. So yeah, it's pretty annoying for him. But yeah. So yeah, RPSing as Pot 2 against a lot of characters is just not worth it, because you can die so fast. Even though you're heavy and like your backdash is good, your neutral is just so bad and your defensive options just aren't good. So you just risk so much health trying to survive defense and like just try to get him to do anything. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this tier list. I'd love to hear what you guys think, and yeah, I'll see you guys later.